Alright guys, I just wanted to make a real quick tutorial on how to remove your upper intake plenum on the GM 3800 series engine. This just happens to be a 2000 Pontiac Grand Prix. Monte Carlos had the same motor, the Impalas, other cars have the same shit. Camaro, Trans Am, of course, they're going to be facing the other way in a rear-wheel drive car. So this is not going to be a step-by-step, but just a quick overlook because I'm rushing to get this car done. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning right now, and I gotta have it done because it's going to be sold to a buddy of mine tomorrow before noon, so I'm trying to finish this up real quick. It's really not that bad. It looks bad because there's so much shit, but really just unplug everything and note where everything goes off your throttle body there, and all these, get them out of the way, undo any brackets you can. Mounting bolt here and here for the fuel rail, same on the back. Of course, the spark plug wires are going to get you caught up there. And then once you unbolt them, unplug your injectors, and they will just pop out with the fuel rail, as you can see there. Before you do that, however, you're going to have to relieve the fuel pressure right there. If you don't know how to do it, you unscrew it, put a rag around it, it's going to blow fuel out, push the little pin, let out the pressure, and a bunch of fuel is going to come out too, so be very careful. You have to relieve the pressure first. Unhook this fuel line there, unhook the fuel line there after you release the pressure. Okay, and then the throttle body, it's just 3 bolts. You got that one up top there and these 2 down there. This bracket here is in the freaking way. You unbolt it, and then it just pivots on the bolt down there. You don't have to worry about taking that out. Just push it out of the way. It may be loose, it may be tight. Then from underneath the throttle body, you can get a socket and an extension here to get these bottom 2. And then your throttle body comes right out. And again, make sure you disconnect whatever. I undid this bracket, but that is not necessary. I could have just left that bolted up. And be careful when you're pulling your injectors out not to get shit down in the injector holes, and don't set it on anything dirty on the tips of the injectors, obviously. Okay, there's with it off. You just take the bolts out and it pops off. Some people talk about there being hidden bolts, and really if you just get all this shit out of your way, they're not that hidden. They're a little different depending on year and what car you have, but they're very, very similar. So on this particular one, being the Grand Prix, I just had 3 in the front, 3 in the back, 1 here, 1 on the other side there, 1 here, and 1 on the other side there. And they're a little different. You got a longer one here and there, then on the side. So just pay attention to which one comes from where and put it back in the correct location. So there's my old one removed. And we had a coolant leak here, which is why I have it off and removing it. You can see that white shit there, old coolant. It was leaking out of the corner there. So here's a new one, and I'm going to get it installed. And by the way, before you pull this off, with there being coolant jackets and shit and coolant running through this, you want to drain just about a 1/4 of a gallon of your coolant out. Catch it. That way you don't have coolant go all over the place when you pull this manifold off, and then when you're done, just put it back in your radiator. Alright, there we go, nice and clean. Make sure you clean your mating surfaces for the new gasket. Brake parts cleaner, starting fluid, anything like that that's not going to leave a residue. Clean all the oil and shit up. So now we're ready to install this new one here. Alright, there's the new manifold in place. You need to swap this over and swap that over. So now we're ready to install our bolts and go ahead and do the torque sequence. Alright, torque spec. First sequence, 22 inch-pounds. Second sequence, same order, 89 inch-pounds for your final torque set. There's the pattern, just as you're looking at it here. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Okay, we're pretty much done except for the throttle body. Everything else is hooked back up, fuel lines and electrical connectors and whatnot. I just wanted to take time to show you this. these bolts here. Remember, all mine came out of the throttle body like this, and apparently it should just be this nut that slips off, and then your throttle body will slide off of those posts. They were never supposed to come out, apparently. So I don't know if I can get these nuts off the original bolts to reinstall on the new ones that are part of the manifold, Plenum or what have you. So I'm gonna have to either get these off or source some more 10mm bolts and whatever thread size that is, so I can get my throttle body bolted back up. Okay, actually these are coming right off. I just got a real good pair of channel locks, or whatever the hell you want to call these, and my ratchet and wrench, and they're coming right off, so won't have any problem getting those nuts off and putting them on the new bolts. Alright, she's all done. Everything's bolted back up, hooked back in, airbox hooked back up. All that's left is a plastic cover if you want that on there. Put the coolant back in the radiator, what would fit, which is actually just a little bit, and then I just dump the rest back in the reservoir. That's it. Okay, she's all done. Had it running for, I don't know, about 10 minutes now. You want to let it run, check for leaks and whatnot. I've already checked, we're good. You want to let it run, get up the operating temperature, full operating temperature, and then let it idle for 5 or 10 minutes at that full op temp. And then, if you can, shut it off and let it completely cool down and give it a complete heat and cool down cycle. And that'll help that new gasket seat correctly. If you absolutely have to drive it after installing it, just be easy on it until you get a good 1 or 2 heat cycles on it. That way your gasket sets correctly. Alright, so right down in here is where the old one was leaking. You can see the little puddle there left over. But right here, I don't know if I can get my hand in there. Right down here is where we were leaking with the old one. And it's bone dry now. Alright guys, thanks for watching this quick tutorial. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Tell me what you think.